Hello everyone, my name is Maury, and what's the worst date you've ever been on? So, just as the title may suggest, I'm going to talk about one of the worst dates that I've ever gone on while I was Mormon. Oh boy. Back when I was in my early 20s and I was going to Mormon Single Church, which is called the Singles Ward. So I had been going to this Singles Ward for a little bit. I don't know exactly because it's been so long. This is like almost like a 10-year plus story. I was going to the Singles Ward, and there was one day I decided to sit somewhere in the back during sacrament meeting, and I decided to sit in a different spot, a different pew, more in the back, because I just wasn't feeling very social. I didn't really want to sit next to new people. The person that I was going to church with ended up going to a different ward, or they stopped going to church. I don't remember exactly the circumstances as to why I was alone at church, but I was alone, and I didn't want to be alone, and I didn't want to interact with people because people scare me. So I sat in this pew. It was close to the air conditioning, which will kind of come up here. So I sat close to the air conditioning, and there's this guy who came and sat down next to me, and didn't think anything of it. Again, people just kind of sit down at the pews, not a big deal. We go through the meeting, and he ends up, like, as soon as people started talking, he, like, leaned over and tried to start a conversation with me, which, while there's people talking, he's trying to whisper things to me, but the microphone is just so blazingly loud, I couldn't hear a thing. Like, all through, like, that hour meeting, or, like, half hour, I forget how long sacrament meetings actually are. But for that allotted time he tried to talk to me, I couldn't hear a word he said. So I'm sure he gave me his name, his interests, and whatever, asking me questions that I just couldn't understand. So it was a lot of, oh yeah, haha, yeah. You know, that really awkward, like, oh, I didn't really hear you, but, like, okay. Plus, I was sitting next to the air conditioning, too. It was an old building, like, built in the 1800s type of old, where, like, it kept going on, and it was, again, so blazingly loud. So even, like, if he would get close to me and I couldn't hear him, it made, like, the whole exchange, like, super awkward. And I didn't, like, I think I just got his name. Everything else that he wanted to talk about during that meeting, I just couldn't hear. But by the end of sacrament, he, like, we talked a little bit more, but at the end of it, he's like, hey, I know this is, like, we just met, we, like, barely even talked to each other, but would you like to go on a date with me? And at the time I had this rule for myself where I would never turn down a first date from anyone. I would give people a chance. Don't do that, kids. Take it from me. If you have a bad vibe about someone, say no. Because let me tell you, I was not attracted to this guy. I didn't have really good feelings about this guy. Wasn't really interested in him. But again, this rule I was going to give him a first date. So I said yes. We exchanged numbers, and we had set a date. It was like a really simple movie and dinner date. We had a place in mind. It was like this little strip mall near where we lived. Like a really, really simple date. So, yeah, I think it was going to be that next weekend, because I had just started a job, or maybe it was that Friday. I can't really remember, but I had just got a new job. And while we were waiting for that date to come up, you know, as you would do to get to know someone before a date, he tried to text me. I say tried. I wish I could show you guys like the text messages that I received, because boy may as well have smashed his face against a keyboard and press send. Like, I couldn't understand a fucking thing this guy was trying to say to me. Like, I would sit there, like, I remember the first text I got from him and I was like, oh, it's the guy. And I was like, oh, what is this decoding shit that I have to do now to figure out what he's trying to ask me? Like, there were some texts that were easier than others, but there were just some texts that were like, not a single word was spelled right. There was like numbers in words that were involved. There were symbols. And I like, straight up, there's been a couple of times leading up to that week and I'm like, dude, I have no idea what you are trying to ask me or what you're trying to send to me. Like, are you reading your text? Like, I think I did ask it. Are you reading your text before you send them? Because this is illegible. I can't read these. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm on those old, I forget what it's called, but those old keypads, like keypad texting where you have to press the number a certain amount of times. But I guess that's how he was texting. And I'm like, okay, fine, but you're not like proofreading your text messages, because some of these are just like completely inexcusable. There's no way you typed that up, didn't read it before sending it. Like, what? So that was extremely frustrating, because I would like to know this person that I'm going on this date with, but like, I can't read your text messages. So again, leading up to this date, didn't know anything other than this guy's name because I couldn't decipher his freaking text messages. So yeah, come the date, through his text, I realized he was gonna pick me up at my place, because I didn't have a car at the time, so I couldn't meet him at a neutral location. So I had him come pick me up at my place. I was still living with my parents at the time, so he came in. I believe he met my mom very, very briefly, and then we went to a movie. So we're talking as we go in the car. He's super like, he's complimenting me to a point where it's almost like off-putting, you know, like I not that I don't love a good compliment every now and then. Like, I don't mind being told, like, oh, you look nice, you smell nice, you look very, you know, you look nice. I don't know. But like, it was just like a waterfall of just, oh, you look so beautiful, you look so nice, oh, I can't stop looking at you because you're so pretty. And I'm like, okay, can we talk about, you know, something else? Like, not that I don't appreciate the compliments. Again, I appreciate a good compliment, but let's like talk about you for a second. There comes a point where it's just like too much. it's overwhelming, and I want to talk about something else, because you can only say thank you so many times before it gets weird, right? So we finally get to the place, and we get out of his car, and we're making our way toward the movie. And again, I don't really know this guy, like, at all. And you know, it's a first date. You don't really expect someone to be so forward as to touch you in a way that is like more reminiscent of a couple with somebody that you just met and don't really know anything about. But this guy, as soon as we exited his car and we were heading toward the movie, he was putting his arm around my shoulder. Like, at least it wasn't my waist, I'll give him that. Like, but it was over my shoulder, and he was like pulling me in really close, and I was, like, he didn't ask me if he could touch me, but he put his arm over to my shoulder, and I just went like, oh my god, what's happening? Why are you touching me? I don't really know you that way. Like, I know I said yes to a date, but that doesn't mean I said yes to you touching me. Like, what are you doing? But like he like put his arm under my shoulder and was like holding me really close to him, and he was like I don't know, like gremlin whispering in my ear, like, "Oh, you look so nice, you smell so nice." I'm like, okay, I don't like this. Immediately red flags. Like my skin's crawling just thinking about it, because I'm like, ooh, I'm uncomfortable and I don't want you to touch me because I don't know you like that. I want to leave immediately. But I'm very bad with conflict. I'm very bad at setting boundaries, and I didn't want to upset this guy, so I didn't really say anything, but very clearly my body language was giving off stiff, please don't touch me, I don't like this, I'm not looking at you, I'm not enjoying this situation. Like I had hoped that body language would have been enough to deter him, but some guys just don't read body language at all, and that is a lesson that I have learned. So we get to the movie, we're settled in, I think we got a couple of treats and a drink, some popcorn, and we sit down, and I'm just sitting there, waiting for the movie to start, and he reaches over and touches my knee and like grabs. Like, he touches my thigh a little bit, but doesn't go so high as to, like... No, it's creepy either way. What am I saying? Like, touching my knee and touching anywhere above my knee is creep, red flags, I'm uncomfortable, sirens are going off in my head, and I'm like, why are you touching me? Why are you touching me like this? This is the first day. I don't know you. I'm scared, I'm uncomfortable, what are you doing? And so, like, again, I'm not good with conflict, I don't brush him off, but very clearly I am in my seat, like, shoulders hunched, very, very tense, like, I don't want you to do this to me. But I didn't say it out loud, so he didn't get the hint, so he ended up doing that for a good, like, at least half of the movie, before, like, he ended up moving his hand off of my leg to either, like, hit the soda that he bought, or, like, to eat some of the popcorn. And as soon as he did that, I just, like... Nope. Ended up crossing my knees and hugging myself to be like, please don't touch me. Like, if that doesn't give, please don't touch me, I don't know what does. But, like, literally, I crossed my legs and put my hands on my knees so that he couldn't touch me. Whether or not he tried to, like, hold my hand or touch my knee anyway, I don't remember. I don't think he did. I think he kind of got the hit a little bit. So that's how I spent the rest of that movie, just hunched over and tense and uncomfortable. And I don't remember anything from that movie because I was just trying to, like, dodge his advances, because I if I remember right, he also tried to put his hand over my shoulder again, but I kind of, like, leaned over trying to keep him from touching me again, because it was so too much. It was overwhelming, and we get through the movie. I survived it, and we decide to go to a restaurant that's nearby. I believe it was like a Cafe Rio or something, some Mexican restaurant that I really, really like. So we're waiting in line, and I don't know if it was because I didn't want this guy to touch me and he kind of saw that, I didn't want to touch him. He had a new trick up his sleeve, and that was the pity me trick. So we were talking, and he, like, I don't know if it was, like, organically brought up or if he just kind of said it, but I think we were talking about scars, actually, because I have a scar on my pinky that I got from a dog attack when I was a kid, and he was like, oh yeah, well, I've got a scar on my ear. I'm literally missing a chunk of my ear because somebody ripped it off while I was in a fight. And I was like, oh my god, that's awful, I'm so sorry. And he's like, yeah, well, I was bullied a lot when I was growing up, so that, like, being beat up wasn't an uncommon thing for me. Like, people always picked on me. People always hated me growing up, and I never understood why. And I'm like, I'm so sorry to hear that. Like, I was kind, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm sorry to hear that. And he's like, yeah, I just have a really hard time making friends, and I get rejected a lot. So the fact that you're here, like, really means a lot to me. And I was like, okay. All right, I'm glad to have helped that, I guess. You seem like an okay guy. Cool. And like, he was like on a roll with this, so he would like keep going. It's like, yeah, my parents were like abusive or something like that. I don't know. Going on this like tangent of pity me, my life, woe is me, life is hard, people don't like me, and I don't understand why. And I'm like, I'm not understanding why. I'm kind of seeing why. But then the conversation, I believe after we got our food and he had his little pity party, we got our food, we sat down, and he started to ask me, so what temple do you want to get married in? And I was like, what? So Mormons get married in temples, in a Mormon temple. And that's like not an uncommon question to have for somebody that you are like pretty sure you're gonna get married to. Not typically a first date question. It's not a first date question, but that was a question that he asked as soon as we sat down. It's like, so what temple do you want to get married in? I'm like, I'm not sure. Haven't thought about it. I'm not really picky because I think they're all beautiful. Like, I don't know. He's like, oh yeah, well, how many kids do you want to have? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it because I feel like I'm a little too young for that at this time. I was one of the rare Mormons that didn't want to marry super young and didn't want to have kids right away. So I was like, I don't know. I feel like I'm still kind of young, so I don't know if I'm ready for kids yet. And he's like, oh, okay, well, you probably should start thinking about that. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, what do you expect from your husband in the future? Like, what kind of house do you want to live in, or what kind of income do you expect? I'm like, dude, I don't know. I don't think about this stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm uncomfortable with these questions because I don't want to marry you specifically, or like really anyone right now. I'm still trying to figure myself out what I want to do in life. Like, why are you asking me these questions? I'm very clearly like uncomfortable, so why do you have to make it 10 times worse by asking me marriage questions? This date goes on like that. We get to the end, it's getting kind of late, and I tell him, I was like, hey, I probably should start heading home. I've got work tomorrow, and I gotta be up kind of early, so I'd like to get up as much sleep as I can, like reset for the week. So I think it's time to go. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll take you home. Thank God. So we're driving back, and he's like, oh, I had such a good time. I would really love to go on a second date with you. And I was like, oh no. What do I say? Because that was the worst date I've ever been on. I've never been so uncomfortable in my entire life. I want to say no, but again, I don't want to offend you. I don't want to make you mad. You seem a little unstable, so I don't want to say something to cause you to bump me out of your car in the middle of the road, because I don't know if I want to deal with that. So I was very like, I didn't give him a straight answer, and that's my own fault. I take absolute fault in that. I shouldn't have done that. But I was like, oh, I don't know. I have this new job, and I don't know what my schedule is going to be for sure, so everything is going to be kind of up in the air. I don't know if they're going to have me work weekends. I just don't know my schedule for sure enough to say yes to a second date. And he was like, well, what about this date and this time? And I'm like, I don't know, because again, I was like, honestly, I don't know if I'll be free at that time because I don't know what my schedule is. I only get my schedule like a week in advance. And he asked, I hadn't got my schedule for that week. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be available, but I wouldn't count on it because I'm trying to take in extra hours. I'm saving up for a trip to Disneyland. Yeah, I didn't say no, but I didn't say yes, right? Time goes on. He tries to text me. I can't read his texts, so I leave him on read for pretty much that full week. I end up trying to ghost him because I can't read his text messages. I'm uncomfortable and I'm still trying to figure out my work schedule, and just like, I just didn't want to be, I couldn't be bothered at that time. So again, my fault for not communicating that. I should have said something, but I didn't. But again, I never said yes to this date. Really important. So that date comes, and that time he set has arrived. I am at work. I'm gonna be at work for another hour. My dad calls me and he tells me, hey, are you coming home? And I'm like, no, I still have work for another hour. Why? And my dad says, hey, you have a visitor here who says you're gonna be going on a date. Well, I didn't say yes to a date with him. Why is he there? And he's like, I don't know. We can't get him to leave. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't get him to leave? I was like, again, my parents are not very aggressive people. They're very, again, I get it from them, anti-confrontational. But they're like, yeah, we told him that you're not going to be here for another hour, because my parents knew my schedule. Like, yeah, you're not going to be here for another hour, and we told him that. And he said that he would just chill out in the living room and wait for you to get home. And I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, so like, you got to get here and deal with it. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't leave the store, so I guess I'll deal with it when I get home. So an hour passes and I'm fuming. I am fuming. I'm like, how brazen of this motherfucker to come to my house, disrupt my parents for an hour before I get home. He's informed that I will not be there for a while, and he was insistent that he would wait for me in my living room, petting my dog, to wait for me for a second date. So I get home, I go through the door, there he is on my couch, like I said, petting my dog, and I was like, hi, how long have you been here? And he's like, oh, I've been here for like an hour waiting for you. You didn't really answer my text, so I just figured I'd come and you know, kind of whisk you away for a second date. And I'm like, I am clearly frustrated and not having it with this guy. But I didn't say no because I'm an idiot. So I was like, okay, well, I guess give me a couple minutes to go change, and sure, I guess we'll go on this stupid date. So I go, I change, I come back, we go on this second date. I don't remember what we did for this other date. I don't know if we went on a walk or something or what, but like, again, it was an exact repeat of the first date where he was just touching me in ways I didn't want him to. He was putting his arm around me. He showered me with compliments. He wanted to talk about our future, and I was so zoned out. Like, literally, I can't remember anything other than I was so uncomfortable this entire date. So time comes when we're driving home again, and he's asking for a third date, and I was like, dude, I don't know. Again, my schedule is so crazy with this new job. I don't know what my schedule is. I'll text you. I will text you. Okay? When I'm available. Hi, sorry, costume change. I know that's a little disorienting, but my camera decided to die and overheat in the middle of that story, so it's the next day, but I'm gonna wrap up the story so I can let you guys go. So I told him not to set a date, not to set a time, because I don't know what my schedule's going to be like, right? So he agrees. He's like, yeah, just like text me when you're available, please. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. So this part, some people may have some very strong opinions on this approach when it comes to, I guess, rejecting someone. But because of this guy's patterns and behaviors and the way that he was pushing all kinds of boundaries, when it's only been 2 dates, I was really scared to tell him in person no. So I decided the best approach would be to text him. And again, I know it's not the most chivalrous thing to do, but again, I was very scared of this guy at this point. He was crossing all kinds of lines, and I just don't know if he would be the type of person to react in a way that was very intense or, God forbid, violent. So I decided the best course of action would be to text him. So I sent him this big old block of text, telling him like, hey, I don't think this is working out. You know, I just don't see us working out. I don't really want to go on another date with you. However, you know, you do seem like a really nice guy. Like I was trying to be as kind as possible. Kid gloves were on for this. Like I was trying to be as polite and kind and open to like a friendship with him as I could in this text. And I sent that text and I waited for some kind of reply, either him blowing up on me or saying, okay, yeah, sure, friendship. I was really ready for anything, but what happened was nothing. He didn't respond to me. So I was like, oh, well, kind of a relief. Like either way, it was no skin off my nose. If he decides that I'm Satan himself, then okay. That week goes on. It comes Sunday. I'm back at church and I'm sitting in a different pew. And this guy, I see him. I was kind of half expecting him, you know, to do something, either like a wave or to say hi or maybe come up and tell me off himself, you know. But I saw him. We made eye contact because he was walking down the aisle between the pews, and you know, I looked at him and I was polite. I smiled, I waved, and he just he looked at me and brushed me off, and I'm like, okay, like, oh, all right, fine. Like, again, no skin off my nose. If he decides again that I'm the worst person in existence, then okay, that's fine with me. I know that I didn't do anything wrong, except for maybe the dumping through the text. I know people have very strong opinions on that, regardless of the situation. I get that. But I was willing to take that L to not be with this guy anymore. Time passes. It's been a month. I want to say close to a month, where he was avoiding me pretty much like the plague. He wouldn't look at me. He didn't want to acknowledge me. Again, totally fine. I thought it was a little dramatic. Whatever. Again, I don't care at this point. He's just... It's confirming to me that I dodged a bullet, you know. So a few weeks pass, and there's this after church social type thing where we'll have a treat. People are invited to come and talk. I actually had some friends come with me to church this time, and we decided to go to this after church thing. we grab our food, we're sitting down, we're talking, we're having a good time, we're laughing, being social with each other. And the guy that I went on a date with approached me. And I was like, oh, like I was kind of taken aback because he's been avoiding me, not looking at me. He wanted nothing to do with me for all this time. And I was shocked because he came up and he sat down at our table and he's like, hey, I know it's been a minute. And I was like, oh yeah, how are you doing? It's good to see you again. How have you been? And he was like, oh, not very good, because I've been losing a lot of friends lately. And, you know, I've just really been, it feels like everyone is abandoning me. And I'm like, we're doing pity party round 2, I see. So I'm polite. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope things get better for you. Again, I've got friends here that we're happy to include you in our outings if you want. He was like, no, that's okay. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know that, you know, what you did kind of hurt me, and I'm really sad that things didn't work out, but I hope you're doing well. I guess I'll see you around. And then he like leaves. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh, because like if that's actually happening, that's really tragic, and I'm sorry, but like don't have a personality. Like that's so mean to say, but honestly, if you're coming here just to try to make me feel bad for you I didn't at that point. I was so like almost relieved that, you know, that I dodged the bullets, that I didn't actually like give in and give him a chance and like went on more dates with him, because it was going to end in tragedy. He was not, I don't think he was a good person. I don't know if he is now. I don't know what he's up to. We have So that was one of my worst dating experiences. Luckily nothing like too dramatic happened. There was no like stalking, there was no violence, there was no this or that. So I'm happy that it ended like it did. I think I got the best case scenario in that situation. If you guys would like to share your own experiences, either a date or like a hangout, or generally just a person you interacted with that maybe gave you like weird vibes, I would love to hear that down in the comments below. But until my next video, take care of yourself, drink some water, eat some food, and please be safe. Bye!